Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast number 1548. The topic is Q&A, and the title is It Adds Up. So we had a listener send in a question, which I love, so thank you to those who send in questions. And it's a female listener, and she said that she doesn't have a lot of time. She's trying her best with nutrition and training, but due to work, due to family, due to stress in life, she only has about 10 to 20 minutes a day. Now, she had listened to some past podcasts in which I talked with my wife, Meredith, and we talk about how she makes progress even when things can't be perfect. And that would be, you're doing your best you can with nutrition, but you don't always have the quote-unquote right foods available. You're doing your best you can with training, but sometimes work demands are crazy and you only get into the gym once that week. Can you still make progress when things aren't perfect? And the answer is absolutely yes. But the listener's question is 10 to 20 minutes enough? And the answer is absolutely yes. Something is better than nothing, and every little bit adds up. Hence the title, It Adds Up. So pairing with today's podcast on social media, I'll have a picture that shows Meredith, actually, and we have a little bit of a comparison between a photo taken of her last year in the gym to one taken this year in the gym. And it's kind of like a New Year's transition type thing. And what we thought was really exciting was even through all the chaos that this year has been for her, that she still made very noticeable progress in the photos. So if you came to this podcast from seeing the photo, you've already seen that, and I want to talk about it a little bit. But if you haven't seen the photo, you might want to check us out on social media, on Instagram. If you do, follow us, and you'll see the photo I'm talking about. And that's the thing I want to talk about today, is how it adds up. So for Meredith, she's been going through a lot. We've talked about it in past podcasts. Let me see if I can bring up one of the more recent ones, so that way if you want to learn more about what we've been balancing, you can do that. So we have podcast 1421. It's a training podcast with Meredith, and it's titled It Takes Less Than You Think. So that would be a good one to check out. So for us in 2020, everybody had a crazy 2020, but ours also included her mother having a stroke. It included Meredith going through a job change. And then 2021 kind of dealt with solidifying all of that and managing all of that. And then through 2022, she's going through some more changes to the point where the first 6 months, actually, Meredith wasn't able to even get into the gym. So we were just doing healthy eating alone. And we are lucky and blessed that we were able to buy a Bowflex. There's a model of Bowflex, which is like an elliptical, but it goes up and down rather than horizontal, which gets greater quad involvement and greater lower glute involvement rather than a horizontal elliptical. So she had been trying to get that Bowflex in 2 to 3 times a week. Sometimes it was 10 minutes, sometimes it was 20 minutes. Maybe once every 2 weeks she went crazy and did like a 30 or 40 minute session. But really, it was the consistency of nutrition and the 10 to 20 minutes here or there that added up. Towards the second half of the year, we were able to get into the gym a little bit more. We started doing more squatting, getting back to kind of bigger movements with leg press, our glute drive, which is like a hip thrust machine, doing a lot of really pinpointed efforts. And that was the big key, is that everything we do is pinpointed. Everything we do is very consistent. So although she can't get to the gym all the time, she eats well every single day. So every day I help prepare her food. Every day she eats right on point with everything that's supposed to be done. And it doesn't take crazy foods. Like her breakfast is, she has to eat everything gluten-free. But it's a gluten-free bagel with eggs. Snack during the day is honey roasted almonds. Lunch can be a little bit variable. Sometimes we do protein pasta, which is chickpea pasta. Bonza pasta is the brand name. And we'll do that blended with feta cheese, some peppers, and she really likes that. We also do gluten-free soups. At night, we'll do ground beef. We'll do some chicken. We might mix it with pasta or with rice. And then her snacks, like I said, are like almonds, maybe a core power drink, which is a protein-based drink, like a kind of like a protein powder, but in a drink form. So she eats well. She eats 3 main meals a day. She eats 1 to 2 extra snacks on top of that. And that's what it takes. It's just consistency. So she's getting in the Bowflex a few times a week, getting to the gym once a week if she can, and we're super consistent with our nutrition. Now, what we've been able to see in the changes, and this is what you would see in like the photos online, is we've gotten to see a good change in her thigh shape, which is one of the main focal points that we have. So her quad sweep has been more pronounced. So what this means is that she has less like kind of fat around her kneecap, and the muscle sweeps out through the thigh, which makes it look really nice. So it's almost like having an almond shape to your thigh rather than like a V, like a cone, rather than an upside down cone. So that way it tapers back in a little bit towards the top, and that gives a really nice full rounded look to the thigh. We were also able to raise her glutes, so actually lift the glutes. So we got leaner and better shape in the glute. So where her hamstring, the back of her leg comes up, and then when it meets her glute, that is actually elevated now. And you can see that in the photo. There's a much more distinct difference between the two areas, between the hamstring and where the glute starts. So we got a much better cleanliness, like cleanness of the lines to the bottom of the glutes. And then also the glute pop. So her glutes are just more rounded and they stick out more. And that's really going to be, an amazing aesthetic difference for her. And we were actually really excited to see that all those changes were taking place. So what it took wasn't Herculean efforts, over a long period of time. What it took was 10 to 20 minutes consistent. If she could get 10 to 20 minutes 3, 4, 5 times a week, that's absolutely enough to get progress, to see change, especially when combined with healthy eating. So if you are struggling, if you're wondering, how can I get good results? How can I make physical changes? But I only have, 10 to 20 minutes a day. Can it be done? Absolutely. Absolutely, yes, it can. So one of the first places, if you want help, I'll help write everything for you. Of course, that's our one-on-one client service. So if you're interested in that, just email me at brulironGym@gmail.com or check out our website, www.brulironGym.com. And you can see we have options for one-on-one coaching where I can just basically tell you exactly what to eat based on your schedule and preferences and where you're at right now with body fat levels and muscle levels. So I can help you with everything. But if you want to try to do it on your own, we have podcast 1232, which is a nutrition podcast titled Start Here. And that will actually tell you how to set up your own training nutrition program. If you go to our website, www.brulironGym.com, on the website, we have the player for the podcast. Underneath that, we have podcast history search, where you can actually describe how to search for older podcasts. And then under that, we have podcast highlights. And there's a direct link to podcast 1232, which is in the nutrition podcast titled Start Here. So you can go to that direct link and listen to that podcast, and it'll tell you step by step how to set up a nutrition program. Now for training, we have a couple different options. We have free program examples on our website, which you can see programs that I have written for clients in the past, and you can kind of check out and see theirs. So we have one, for example, as a training program for a female, and it's focused on fat loss, shaping, and mobility. So it's free. So you can just click on it, and if you pair that with the nutrition podcast, you can get everything you want. Now, that program was written specifically for that person, but it still has a ton of really good content in it. We also have our Try Me programs, which are super cheap, and they're 3 months of programming, and we have 30-minute kind of fat loss and shaping workouts, but it also describes how you can modify that down to 20 minutes if you want to. And then we have like kind of our more in-depth training templates, which will actually teach you how to write your own programming, and then that's super duper fun. So we have a lot of layers. We have free stuff. You can absolutely do this without paying me a dime, and that's actually how I want it to be set up. So that way everybody has a chance to live a healthier and happier life regardless of finances. So if you have financial struggles, you can still get good quality information, you can still get everything you want. If you have a little bit of money, you can do the Try Me programs. If you have more money, you can do the one-on-one services, and I'll help you set up everything exactly to your needs, exactly what equipment you have at home. I'll even give you suggestions if you have any budget for more equipment. I'll help you figure out what to get. But you absolutely can make significant progress, even just 10 to 20 minutes most days a week. Even if you only get 3 or 4 days a week, 10 to 20 minutes, you absolutely can see progress. It comes down to making sure that your nutrition is on point, and then with what you do, it's very pinpointed and accurate to what you want to change. So, thank you to the listener who sent in the question, and I really hope that you hear that you absolutely can make progress, and 10 to 20 minutes a day is enough. If that's what you are struggling to find right now, you absolutely can make progress. It does add up. It does add up. Okay. Well, if you need anything, please reach out. I'm always here, and I'm always happy to help. I love when listeners send in questions. And again, any questions you have about services or information, just let me know. I want to make sure that you get everything you need in order to live your healthiest and happiest life. Awesome. Well, if you like our podcast, please share it. When you do share it, let people know that we answer questions for free, so that way they can send in anything they want and they'll get the answers they want. Thank you to those who financially support the podcast with donations. You can donate on our website at www.birdlinergym.com. That goes all towards the hosting costs, and I give this to an hour every day. We're keeping it for free, so the donations make all of that possible. Thank you to everybody who donates. If you like the information we share in our podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I do post mostly on Instagram, so check us out there the most, but I am posting more on YouTube as well. And then if you have any questions, feedback, suggestions, anything you want to know, let us know at our email, birdlinergym@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.